Welcome back. In the previous class, we looked into various BJT biasing circuits. So, you are aware if you want to bias your transistor, that is you want to keep your transistor in active region so that it is useful for amplifier applications, we need to determine the operating point. So, you should see to it that it is properly biased. So, for efficient biasing, we have various biasing circuits. In the last class, we discussed how to bias your transistor using a very simple biasing circuit, that is fixed biasing circuit, and we wrote the biasing circuit, we did the analysis, we discussed what load light analysis is, we also worked out a few problems. So, we will take up one more problem on base biasing circuit, and we will continue with the two more biasing circuits, that is collector to base bias circuit and voltage divider bias circuit, and give an introduction to various op-amp application circuits towards the end. So, in the today's class, we will take up one more problem on base biasing circuit. We have already discussed the advantages and disadvantages of your base biasing circuit. Advantages, it happens to be very simple, and disadvantages, it offers less stability against variation in the temperature and transistor gain. So, to overcome this, we do have other biasing circuits which includes collector to base bias and voltage divider bias. Today's class, I will just revisit base biasing circuit, solve one more problem on base bias circuit, and then take up collector to base bias, voltage divider bias circuit. So, herein we are given with the base biasing circuit. You are asked to find the maximum values of collector current and collector emitter voltage, maximum and minimum values of this corresponding to a gain of 50 and 200. So, you can identify this is a fixed bias circuit. You are given with resistance value of 470 and base resistance value of 470 and collector resistance value of 2.2 kilo ohms. I need to determine IC and VCE corresponding to a minimum value of gain and as well as maximum value of gain, and we will draw the load line and compare the Q points corresponding to a gain of 50 as well as 200. So, with this we can see the effect of gain on the operating point of your of a given biasing circuit. So, what is given? So, you are given with VCC is equal to 18 volts. We are given RB as 470 kilo ohm. We are given RC as 2.2 kilo ohm. Now, I need to determine IC. In order to determine IC, I need IB, and we also need to determine VCE corresponding to minimum and maximum value of gain. So, case 1, I will take the gain of HFE is 50, a gain of 50. So, and what is IC? IC happens to be beta, gain into input current. So, the collector current, output current is gain into input current beta. So, and you are aware beta, if you apply KVL to the input junction, it is going to be VCC minus VBE by RB. So, because we are not given with the cut-in voltage here VBE, we will assume it is a silicon transistor, we will assume it is 0.7 volts. So, accordingly beta is 50, so I have considered it for minimum value of your gain. So, it is 50 into VCC 8 minus VBE, I take it as 0.7 volts. If it is not given, we will assume it is 0.7 divided by RB is 470 into 10 power. So, I have already calculated this for you, and this 1.84 milliamps. So, this is corresponding to HFE 50. Now, I find out the corresponding value of VCE. So, if you want to find VCE, you apply KVL to the output junction. So, it is VCC minus IC RC. So, substitute the values, it is 18 minus IC, I get it as 1.84 into 10 power minus 3, and RC value is 2.2 into 10 power 3. Substitute the values and you will end up getting a value of VCE equals 13.95 volts corresponding to HFE 50. Now I will find the same, I will repeat the same steps for a gain of 200. So assume the gain is 200, repeat the same steps. So IC becomes 200 into VCC minus VBE by RB, substitute the values and you end up getting a value of 7.36 milliamps. And VCE, substitute the corresponding value of IC in this expression, it is 18 minus 7.36 into 10 power minus 3 into 2.2 into 10 power 3, and the corresponding voltage VCE max is going to be 1.8 volts. Now I will locate this on the load line and see what is the effect of your gain on the operating point. So if you want to locate the operating point, so what is if you want to locate the load line, so you are aware what is load line. Load line is the line joining a point on x axis and a point on y axis on your on the output characteristics, and your output characteristics is a plot of output current versus output voltage for different values of base current. Now I need to locate a point on x axis and I need to locate a point on y axis, and the expression which relates your output and input is VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC. Now if I want to locate a point on x axis, I need to substitute IC is equal to 0. So when I make IC 0, so VCE is VCC, so it is 18 volts. Similarly, if I want to locate a point on y axis, I substitute VCE is equal to 0, and accordingly IC becomes VCC by RC, which is 18 by 2.2 kilo ohms, which is 8.18 volts. So it is 8.18. So point connecting these two lines on the output, we call it as a load line. And now we will try to locate these two operating points. For case 1, the operating point is 1.8 and 13.95. So 13.95 and corresponding base current, collector current is 1.8 volts. Sorry, 1.84 milliamps. Say this is your Q point. So this is corresponding to case 1. This is HFE equals 50. So likewise, locate the operating point corresponding to HFE is equal to 200. You end up getting 7.26 and the corresponding voltage is 1.8 volts. 7.36. So this is the Q point corresponding to HFE is equal to 200. You can just observe for HFE as you increase the gain, your Q point moves along the load line. So for lower values it is on the lower side of your load line, and as you increase the gain it moves along the same load line, so same load line towards the upper end of your load line. So this is operating point corresponding to 200 of your gain, and this is operating point corresponding to 50, gain of 50. So this could be important. You could get either you could be asked to do analysis, or you could be be given a circuit required data and asked to find the operating points, and herein you are asked to find the operating point for two different cases of gain, and you can do the analysis. You can see how the Q point shifts as you vary the gain. So with this we complete fixed bias circuit. So we have done the analysis, we have discussed the advantages and disadvantages. We also have worked a couple of problems on fixed bias circuit. Now we will move on, we will take up the next biasing circuit, that is collector to base biasing circuit. So the next biasing circuit is collector to base biasing circuit. So as the name indicates, the bias voltage is obtained by resistance which is connected from collector to base of your circuit, and the circuit looks something like this. So this is how your collector to base bias circuit looks like. So as the name indicates, the bias voltage is obtained by connecting a resistor, feedback resistor from collector to the base of your transistor. So this happens to be voltage shunt negative feedback, and we will try to analyze this circuit. So you can see the current flowing into the collector current is equal to IB plus IC, and at this junction it splits as IB. So here we have a junction voltage which we call it as VBE, and we do have a junction voltage between collector emitter, we will call it as VCE, and at this junction IB moves into the base of your transistor, and IC moves into the collector of your transistor. Now we will try to analyze this circuit. So the analysis of the circuit in presence of DC alone, in absence of all the AC input signal, we call it as DC analysis. So when I say analysis, what is we are trying to locate the operating point. So what is operating point? It is a point on the mid of your active region wherein faithful amplification is done. So to do so, we need to determine IC as well as IB. So to determine IC, what is IC? IC is the collector current or output current which is equal to base current, which is base current into gain. So in order to determine IC, I need to determine IB, and where do you find IB? IB we find in the input loop of the circuit. So we apply KVL to the input loop, find the expression for IB, and substitute in the expression IC is equal to beta into IB, I get an expression for IC. Now I need to determine VCE. In order to determine VCE, I apply KVL to the output junction, arrive at an expression for VCE. So this is how we try to analyze. So for this, what we do is we apply KVL to the input loop or base emitter loop. So we have, what is KVL? The sum of all the voltage drops plus the electromotive force in a given loop is equal to 0. So we apply KVL to base emitter junction. Accordingly we have, so if you consider the base emitter junction, this happens to be the base emitter junction. Accordingly VCC minus your expression is going to be IB plus IC into RC minus IB RB minus VBE is equal to 0. So we have VCC minus the voltage drop across RC is IB plus IC into RC minus IB RB minus the junction voltage VBE is equal to 0. But please note, at this point I don't know the value of IC. IC happens to be the output current. At this point we don't have the value of IC. So what we do, we know IC is beta into IB. So it is current gain into base current. I substitute this value here. So your expression ends up being VCC minus IB plus beta IB into RC minus IB RB minus VBE is equal to 0. So if you take IB common, so it is going to be VCC minus IB into 1 plus beta into RC plus RB minus VBE is equal to 0. So I want the expression for IB. So what I do, I keep this, I move this to the left hand side and retain it on to the right hand side. We end up getting IB is equal to VCC minus VBE divided by 1 plus beta RC plus R. And what is beta here? So your beta is the current gain and it is of the order 100 or 200. So it is very high when you compare it with 1. So what we try to do here is we will I'll just write the expression for IC first. So IC is what? Beta into IB. Substitute the value here. Beta into VCC minus VBE divided by 1 plus beta RC plus RB. And you are aware beta is very much higher than RC, 1. So I can approximate 1 plus beta as 1 beta. So this expression reduces to beta into VCC minus VBE divided by beta RC plus RB. And you are also aware the value of your collector current is very much greater than RB. So the product beta RC when compared to RB is very high. So what I do is I ignore this as compared to beta into RC. So what you see, beta gets cancelled. As a result, your collector current IC ends up being VCC minus VBE divided by RC. And what is the inference you get? You can see it is irrespective of the current gain. So that is where I say collector to base bias circuit provides better stability compared to your fixed bias circuit, wherein even if you alter the current gain, it has no effect on the output current. So that is where with all these approximation, we can conclude that this circuit offers better stability when compared to the previous fixed bias circuit. Now we are done with computing IC. What am I supposed to do? We need to determine VCE. So to determine VCE, what am I supposed to do? Where do you find VCE? VCE we find at the output junction. So what we do is we apply KVL to output junction. So we will apply KVL to output junction, arrive at an expression for VCE. So now apply KVL to output. So you apply KVL to this loop, it happens to be VCC minus IB plus IC into RC minus VCE is equal to 0. So we are writing IB in terms of IC, or I can say IB is very much less than IC. So I approximate it to VC minus IC RC minus VCE is equal to 0. So you want the expression for VCE. VCE is going to be VCC minus IC RC. So this way we have determined an expression for IC. We have determined an expression for VCE. So IC is VCC minus VBE divided by. So with this we have done with the analysis of collector to base bias, and the inference is you can see the expression for output current is independent of, has less dependency on the current gain because of all the approximations we have considered, and we can say this circuit offers better stability as compared to your fixed bias circuit. With this we will move on to the next biasing circuit, which is voltage divider biasing circuit, which is most popularly used. So for all your applications which demands greater stability against transistor variation in transistor gain and temperature, we go with what is called as voltage divider bias because of the stability it offers. So we will take up what a voltage divider bias circuit is and how to analyze a voltage divider bias circuit. So next we have is a voltage divider bias circuit. As the name indicates, it is offering current feedback, negative current shunt feedback. So here you are aware what is a voltage divider. A resistive circuit can be used as a voltage divider. So here the name voltage divider bias circuit is given because the arrangement goes something like this. So we have a base resistance RB, RC, and this is your R1 and R2. So because you find a resistance R1 and R2 which acts as a voltage divider, we have given with the name voltage divider bias circuit. And as I said, this offers better stability as compared to the earlier two circuits. So and if I need to designate the currents, this is your collector current and this is your emitter current. So let me call the current flowing through the collector resistor as IC and this as IE, and I will call this current as I1 and I2, and whatever flows into the base, let me call it as IP. So as usual, we need to do the analysis of this. So analyzing this particular circuit using the approach we used earlier is quite complex. So what you see here is the input section has two loops, and I cannot apply KVL to a single loop, and it is difficult for me to apply KVL to individual loops and combine them. So what we do is, to do the analysis of your voltage divider bias, I go with one of the two alternative methods. One is approximate method and the second one is accurate method. So we are we will take one by one, each one of them one by one. In approximate method, we approximate, we consider some approximation and try to analyze the circuit. So the approximation used is, we consider IB to be very small. We assume the base current is very small range, and do the analysis. And in the accurate method, we replace this circuit with a Thevenin's equivalent model. So I am not sure if you are already studied Thevenin's theorem in your electricals, basic electricals. So if you are not able to recall, no worry. I will just try to brush up what accurate method is. So what Thevenin's model, how to obtain a Thevenin's model for this particular circuit and do the analysis. So this uses an approximation wherein I assume IB is equal to 0 and do the analysis. I will assume IB is very small and do the analysis. And in accurate method, we proceed by considering Thevenin's equivalent model of the circuit. So we replace the circuit with the Thevenin's equivalent model and do the analysis. We will take up one by one. So the first one is your approximate method. As I said, in the approximate method, we make use of an approximation, and if you can apply KCL, Kirchhoff's current law, to this junction, what does Kirchhoff's current law state? Current law states that the current algebraic sum of current meeting at a point is 0. So if you can see, I1 is entering. So if you are writing into, if you are writing if you are applying KCL at this point, it happens to be I1 is equal to IB plus I. Incoming current is equal to the outgoing current. And because it is an approximate method, as I said, I assume IB is very small and it is negligible. So we will ignore IB, we will approximate IB to 0. Your current ends up being I1 is equal to I2. So we will proceed with this approximation and do the analysis. So if you can see, this circuit can be replaced with a circuit something like this. Because IB is 0, we will assume IB is 0. Here we have VCC, we have R1 and R2. This is I1 and I2. So we end up getting an equivalent circuit something like this. So now what I do, I apply KVL to the input section. So here if I apply KVL, now it is easy because we end up getting a single loop. Now I can apply KVL to the input section. So if I apply KVL to input section, so it is VCC minus I1 R1 minus I2 R2 is equal to, and you are aware I1 is equal to I2, so I can write it as VCC minus I2 into R1 plus R2 is equal to 0. So thereby I2 is going to be VCC by R1 plus So, we get an expression for I2 which is VCC into R1 by R2. Now, what is the voltage at this point? Let me call it as VB. Voltage at the base terminal of the circuit, we will call it as VB, and what it is, VB is going to be what? This acts as a voltage divider. Two resistance connected in series acts as a voltage divider, and the voltage at this point is what? Main current into resistance, corresponding resistance divided by the sum of the two resistances. So, VB is going to be VCC into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So, I can write voltage at the base terminal of the circuit is given as VCC into R2 divided by R1 plus R2, because R1 and R2 they act as a voltage divider circuit. Now, what is voltage across the emitter? So, voltage across the emitter is the voltage drop across it. So, it is the current, product of current and resistance, it is product of current and resistance, it is IE into. And we also know VB is the potential difference between, so VBE is the, VE is the potential difference between VB and the junction voltage VBE. So, VE I can write it as base voltage minus base emitter junction voltage. So, we can write voltage at the emitter as VB minus VBE. So, I can write it as IERE is equal to VB minus VBE, or otherwise IE is going to be VB minus VBE by. So, whatever collector current, now I have indirectly determined the output voltage, whatever current is flowing through the collector, same current flows through the emitter current. So, we have determined the output current. So, now we will try to determine VCE. So, in order to determine VCE, the output voltage, we will apply KVL to the output junction. So, apply So, when you apply KVL to output loop, so it is, so VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE is equal to 0, and you are aware IC is equal to IE. If you substitute, we end up getting VCC minus IC into RC plus RE is equal to 0. So, I want minus VCE is equal to 0. We want an expression for VCE. VCE is going to be VCC minus IC into RC plus. So, this gives the expression for. So, the inclusion of emitter voltage, emitter resistance gives you better stability as compared to your previous section. So, this analysis is done by considering an approximation wherein I assume base current is very less, which gives me I1 is equal to I2 resulting into this circuit. Now, my intention is to determine the output current. So, what do? I apply KVL to the input section, obtain an expression for I2, and with this I can determine the voltage drop across VB, and if I consider the voltage drop across RE, it is IE into RE, I get the expression for IE. IE is going to be VB minus VBE by RE, where VBE is this voltage VCC into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So, with this we are determining the output current, and apply KVL to output junction, you get an expression for output voltage. So, VCC minus ICRC minus the junction voltage VCE minus IERE is equal to 0. So, you end up getting an expression for output voltage, which is VCC minus IC into RC plus RE. So, this is one method, this is approximation method of analyzing the given voltage divider circuit. Now, we will go ahead with the second method of analyzing the voltage divider circuit, which is accurate method. As I said, in the accurate method, what we do is we replace this circuit with the Thevenin's equivalent circuit. So, the problem here is we have two loops, applying KVL directly to the input section is a problem. So, one is we go with approximate method, do the analysis, and the second one is we replace the circuit with the Thevenin's equivalent circuit, then we can do the analysis directly by applying KVL to input section of Thevenin's equivalent model and applying KVL to output section to obtain the expression for output voltage. So, we will see what accurate method is. So, in accurate method, I replace this model with an Thevenin's equivalent model. So, this I will just redraw this circuit, I will just redraw this circuit. So, this circuit looks something like this. I have rearranged, I have just rearranged, we have RE and this is your R1 and this is your R2 and this is VCC. So, according to Thevenin's theorem, if at all your circuit comprises of multiple resistances and multiple voltage sources, it can be replaced with a circuit comprising of single equivalent voltage, which we call it as Thevenin voltage, and the multiple resistances present in the circuit can be replaced with a single equivalent resistance called as Thevenin's resistance. So, how do we do that? We replace the voltage source by a short circuit, find the equivalent resistance of the circuit, that happens to be Thevenin's equivalent resistance. And what we do is we open the voltage source and we look into this end of your circuit and determine the equivalent voltage, that happens to be your Thevenin's equivalent voltage. So, accordingly, a circuit comprising of multiple voltage sources and multiple resistance can be replaced with a single voltage source called as Thevenin voltage source and with a single resistance in series, which we call it as Thevenin's resistance. So, this circuit, whatever we have, I have redrawn it into an equivalent circuit, something like this. So, I have just put this here. R1 ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, VCC, we have R1 here, we have VCC here. So, this happens to be your Thevenin equivalent circuit. Now, I write the Thevenin's equivalent circuit for this and we tend to get an equivalent circuit something like this. I will just draw the equivalent circuit here. So, I replace the multiple voltage source, but here we have a single voltage source. We replace it with Thevenin in series with the single equivalent resistance, we will call it as R Thevenin. So, an equivalent circuit here we get something like this, V Thevenin in series with a resistance R Thevenin. So, this you end up getting a circuit something like this. Here the what you observe is you end up getting a single loop here. So, we can easily apply KVL to input section, determine the expression for input current, substitute in the output, substitute in the expression for output current, arrive at an expression for output current, apply KVL directly to the output section, get an expression for output current. So, you can see we have R Thevenin and the current which moves into the base, we will call, let me call it as IB, and we have a resistance here, I will call it as RC, and we have a voltage VCC, and whatever current is moving into the collector we call it as IC, and the same current moves into the emitter, which is IE. And this R Thevenin is what you can see. So, you can just try to see here. Replace it by a short circuit. What is the equivalent resistance? R Thevenin is this, you end up getting R Thevenin as the parallel combination of R1 and R2. It is R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. And if I want to determine the Thevenin's equivalent voltage, open this voltage source, look into this terminal. So, what is it? It is voltage drop across R Thevenin. So, your voltage, equivalent voltage V Thevenin is VCC, the main voltage, because this acts as a voltage divider, VCC into voltage drop across R2 should be considered. So, VCC into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So, you are replacing your voltage divider circuit by an equivalent circuit, equivalent Thevenin's model, which looks like this, where VThevenin is VCC into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 and RThevenin is R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So, we have equivalent circuit which looks something like this. Now, it is easy for me to do the analysis. So, what do? We apply KVL to base emitter junction. So, when I apply KVL to base emitter junction, what happens? We have Thevenin minus IB into R Thevenin minus here the current is IB, we have junction voltage VBE minus and the voltage drop across RE, which is IE into RE, which is equal to 0. And here IE is, what is IE? IE is 1 plus beta into IB. So, IE is what? IC plus IB. If you ignore IB as 0, it is going to be IC. So, IC is beta into IB. So, into IB. So, if you take IB common, it is beta plus 1 into IB. I substitute this in here. So, IE is going to be beta plus 1 into IB. So, it happens to be V Thevenin minus IB R Thevenin minus 1 plus beta into IB RE minus VB. So, because I want expression for IB, I take IB is going to be V Thevenin minus VBE divided by, if you take everything common, it is going to be RB plus 1 plus beta into. So, if you ignore RB compared to 1 plus beta into RE, it ends up being 1 plus beta into RE, and 1 is negligible, it ends up being beta into RE, and if I substitute in the expression for IC, it is beta into IB. This beta and this beta they get cancelled, and in turn what you observe is, you observe that your collector current is irrespective of the transistor gain. So, variation in the transistor gain does not affect the stability of your collector current. So, we now try to find out the expression for VCE. So, for that we apply KVL to output loop. So, when I apply KVL to output loop, it is VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE is equal to 0. So, VCE is going to be VCC minus ICRE minus IE. So, this gives you the expression for output voltage. So, the analysis of your voltage divider circuit can be done either using the approximate method or the accurate method, so which we have discussed. Now, we will try to compare all the three biasing circuits and end our conclusion and give an introduction to op-amp application circuits. Okay, now we will try to summarize all the biasing circuit and put it in form of comparison of various biasing circuits. So, we have looked into the fixed bias, collector bias and voltage divider bias, and we use these parameters to compare these biasing circuit. The first one is circuit. So, this happens to be the simplest of all the circuit. It has only two resistances RB, RC and single voltage source. So, this advantage of your fixed bias circuit is it is simplest, containing only fewer components. And coming to your collector to base bias, here your biasing voltage is obtained by tapping the voltage from the collector to the base and this offers better stability as compared to your fixed bias. So when it comes to your voltage divider bias, what we have is we have a voltage divider circuit comprising of R1 and R2, which gives the biasing, and the stability is improved by the inclusion of an emitter resistance to the emitter of your circuit. So this is with respect to circuit, and considering the stability, as we have already discussed, this happens to be simplest, and it has less stability against variation in the temperature and current gain. So this offers better stability as compared to your fixed bias. That is where I call it as medium stability, and the stability in case of voltage divider is highest compared to the other two circuits. Now coming to the feedback, there is no feedback used, so it is biased directly through using VCC and RP. But here you can see there is a feedback portion of your voltage from the collector terminal is fed back. So we call it as voltage and negative feedback, and here the feedback is current series negative. So because it is a voltage divider, so this bias voltage depends on the current flowing. It is depending on the voltage divider circuit, that is voltage across the resistance R2. So it acts as current series negative feedback. And coming to the application, this is used in applications where the stability is not very important. So you don't have your working in an environment where there are less variation in the transistor gain or less variation in the temperature. You try to use such fixed or fixed bias circuits. So if you want you to be used in switching applications which demand moderate stability, we make use of collector to base bias. And if your application demands the highest stability against temperature and transistor gain, so we go with what is called as voltage divider bias circuit. So with this we complete the BJT biasing chapter topics which have been picked up from BJT biasing circuit for your module 1, and in the next class we will discuss operational amplifier, application circuits of operational amplifier. So you are aware what operational amplifier is. Operational amplifier is an amplifier high gain voltage differential voltage amplifier, and the fundamentals of this has already been led in your basic electronics, and few fundamental applications of your operational amplifier such as adder, differentiator, integrator, you have already discussed in the basic electronics. We will take up advanced application circuits of your voltage op-amp. Just to list, we have a peak detector circuit, we use it as a Schmitt trigger. Based on how it is used, we have different variants of Schmitt trigger. We will look into the op-amp as a relaxation oscillator. We will look into how op-amp can be used as active filters. We will see the use of operational amplifier as voltage to current converter and current to voltage converter in the next few classes. So with this we will conclude for today. Thank you.